right for everybody involved. Joining me now in studio, Democratic Representative Jasmine Crockett of Texas. She's on the Oversight and Judiciary Committees. Welcome. Nice to see you in person again.
It's good to see you, too.
Yield man. You're a civil rights lawyer. Just give me a little context here. Yield man is not really what I want to hear from the Speaker of the House.
Well, first of all, I do want to go back to your monologue because you pointed out the number of Democratic cities.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. Every single mayor that you laid out is a black mayor.
Right.
Let me be clear that there is a high number of African Americans in each and every one of these cities. These are some of our most black populated cities in this country. So when people say the race baiting or whatever they want to say, these are just the facts.
Right.
You are specifically going after black-run cities, and you are associating crime with black folks. So there is no surprise when we ended up with a situation where there was a tragedy that occurred on one day, and then the next day the threats were rolling in at HBCUs.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, when you talk about morale or when you talk about crime and you talk about how we're using our armed forces, we currently have allies that are looking at the United States and wondering what we are going to do. So instead of understanding that Russia is not our friend, when they decide that they're going to mess with one of the NATO allies, Poland, we're kind of like, we don't really know what happened. Or when we have Israel that ends up doing something to Qatar, and Qatar is looking at us and saying, hey, United States, like, where are you?
Yeah, we have 10,000 troops there in Qatar.
Yeah. But we also got our troops going around picking up trash.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where our readiness stands, and I am very concerned, especially since, as it relates to our foreign affairs, this guy was upset because he wasn't invited to go hang out with all the other dictators. So I will say that, yes, we have a problem with this president, but this president cannot do this stuff by himself. So thank you for playing the clip of the Speaker of the House, who is the leader of those that are going to just bend the knee to him. They are not honoring their oath. And that is the only thing that I am asking every single elected leader to do, is honor your oath to the people that elected you and put you into power, instead of doing whatever it is that he wants you to do.
It's uniquely unconservative and un-Republican for Mike Johnson to say to mayors or people in America to yield to the military, right? This goes back to Roman times. We do not want, people do not want to be policed by the military. They respect the National Guard for what the National Guard does.
Yes.
They don't need them in their cities.
No, I mean, when you look, anyway, I mean, when you look at so many parts of our Constitution, it is about whether or not the government is coming in, and that's when you take to the Second Amendment. I mean, like, that is what it actually was laid out about.
Right. Nobody says that about the Second Amendment. Yield, man.
No, they don't. Not to mention, it is not very conservative to do this big government thing.
Right.
This is the biggest amount of government that you could have. Not to mention, you know, you mentioned that it's not really clear why he's not going into Chicago now. Well, I have a guess. He has a governor that is actually resisting. So now we're looking at...
This is an important point. Shifts to Memphis and New Orleans, where the one person who can push back, the governor, is on his side.
Exactly. The people that can push back will not push back. In addition to that, when you look at Memphis, a lot of people don't know what's been going on in Memphis. What's been going on is that the people are pushing back against Elon Musk. Elon Musk has these data centers that have now been tied to polluting their communities and causing them harm. And so they are against these data centers. So now this is yet another way to do something for Elon
Which is kind of weird, because when he talked about the head of Union Pacific, it's like you should maybe just pretend that this isn't just your corporate friends who are causing you to deploy the U.S. military at taxpayer expense
against them, so
that a merger can take place. Like, he literally said it all. He said all the words, Donald Trump. Talked to Justin Pearson yesterday from Memphis. And one of the smart things about people who come from cities where there are crime rates is they don't rely on these statistics that say violent crime was down by X percentage. They realize that violent crime is a bad thing.
Exactly.
Everybody thinks so.
Exactly.
And the ways in which you undercut violent crime are through things that happen in communities, through gun violence protection. those are not the things that are happening here. So Justin Pearson was all about the fact that, yeah, we got a crime problem. We're really happy to have the federal government's help. Yeah. But this doesn't ever solve that problem.
No, it doesn't. They don't like data. They don't like facts. They absolutely detest these things. But even when you look at what Maxwell Frost did, Maxwell Frost led the way as to the creation of the Gun Violence Prevention Office within the White House.
Yep.
What did Donald Trump do?
Really successful until January 20th.
What did Donald Trump do? He absolutely did. Yeah. He got rid of it. And so we have the data that shows what it takes to bring this down. We also know that in these budgets where he's going out and he's saying, yes, give more money to ICE, and yes, I do want my ballroom, and yes, I do want this $400 million plane that is unconstitutional that will cost the American people $1 billion to retrofit. Yes, he can find all the money for that while taking away the programs that law enforcement agencies are relying on. All those grants, he's like, yeah, we don't need those anymore. So it is a farce. It is this appearance of I am doing something when in reality it's not, because he loves this reality show type of situation. So it's like, let me give you the image of protecting you. Let me give you the image of policing. But the reality is that I am not making you any safer. We know, as we've seen this over-policing as it relates to ICE, as well as these criminal acts that are actually being perpetrated by ICE. We just saw that someone was killed in Chicago. So, like, I don't know who is bringing more crime to the streets right now, especially when it comes to ICE. So the over-policing has never worked.
Wow. Representative Jasmine Crockett didn't hold back here. She said flat out that IC raids are nothing more than modern-day slave patrols, and that Trump is pushing for even more of them. That's a heavy statement, and honestly, it forces us to confront some uncomfortable truths about history and power in this country. Now, let me be real with you. When people hear language like slave patrols, some immediately think it's exaggeration or political theater. But if you actually know the history, slave patrols were literally designed to track down, terrorize, and control black people. Fast forward to today, and what do IC raids often look like? Early morning door knocks, families being ripped apart, people being dragged out of homes in front of their children. That's not just immigration enforcement. That's intimidation. That's control. Here's where it gets interesting, though. Is it fair to draw such a direct comparison? Crockett's framing is meant to wake people up, but also risks shutting down the conversation if folks immediately dismiss it as extreme. That's why this moment matters. We should be debating the morality of these raids, not just the legality. Think about it. If the real goal was border security, why are these raids so heavily concentrated in immigrant neighborhoods instead of targeting employers who actually exploit undocumented labor? Why is it always the worker, the family, the powerless person being made into the public example? And let's be clear, Trump isn't just about law and order. His whole approach to immigration has been about spectacle. It's about showing dominance. These raids aren't about fixing the system. They're about instilling fear and sending a message. We're watching you. We can take you out at any time. So here's my take. Crockett's words sting because they force us to look at the past and recognize patterns in the present. Whether you fully agree with her framing or not, the question remains, do we want an America where entire communities live in constant fear of being targeted by the state? Or do we want an immigration system that's tough but fair, rooted in dignity and actual solutions? But let me throw this to you. Do you think comparing IC raids to slave patrols is a fair, necessary wake-up call? Or does it go too far and risk losing people who might otherwise be sympathetic? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments, because this is the kind of conversation we can't afford to ignore.